overwhelmingly supportive of the boulevard option, and the comments that came in were also in support of the boulevard option. So I'm really confused why at this point we've had so much input from the village, and I feel like we're still ignored. And I just wanted to say, Trustee Maher, it sounded like the comments that you got really impacted you and made you think differently, and for that I thank you a lot.
I got a lot of comments that said boulevard, but at the same time they said parking and bus pullouts. I'm trying to, as you comment, it would be helpful to how you would want to accommodate or arrange. Because put the meeting in, then there's no room for parking unless you want to start.
Maybe it's time for another study then. Or
Narrowing doesn't make sense either. We didn't do a study, so how can we comment on that?
Go ahead. Peter Sheehan, I'm 4415 North Ardmore. I was part of the Environment Committee last 2 years. But I would like to remind everyone that it wasn't a 10-year project where we've been making a study of this sort of moving forward. 3 years ago, a little more, there was a position that we had almost a vote on by the village board that would have eliminated almost all the trees along Wilson Drive. And I can say that because when I first came on the new committee, we had a large 20-foot diagram of the Wilson Drive and the areas from the street with the curves and everything. And I noticed right away, and this was the first big meeting we had, I noticed right away that the curb had been moved to the sidewalk on the east side. That eliminated every tree along Wilson Drive on the east side. And then when we talked a little bit further, there was ideas of, in the previous plan that there would be development on the west side. And in many of these places, the trees, the large overarching trees, would be taken out in that plan. So after maybe 7 years of study, that's where the plan was. And we've changed that tremendously. And I think that the work that we've done, the involvement of the public has been wonderful. At times, people have gotten upset with each other. But remember, we started out with a really horrendous idea that we would take out all the trees. I asked one of the employees of the village, when I first saw that, why did they do that? And the answer was simple. That was the only way they could get enough room to put development on the west side. So we started out with this committee. The development committee was very strong, still in favor of development. It was, for months, I asked the question, how would you actually fit a house on the west side of Wilson Drive? And I never got an answer, partly because it doesn't work. And it didn't take long before the development committee came along and said, okay, we'll stop. We don't want to develop this way. We presented this information to the village, and we got pretty overwhelming support that said, no development. And since then, really, it's stopped. I really appreciate Trustee Zovic's proposal tonight, that it was going to be made clear that we did not want it. We wanted to protect these areas. There's still a lot to do with the environmental study that we've done. We have a report out with a lot of suggestions in it, and I think those are now being taken very seriously. They were not part of the draft proposal. They were specifically not assigned that as information, and I think we're in a position to now start worrying about those things, and I hope we have continued support. Now, one thing that's come out in this discussion tonight is that when I looked at the two proposals, I thought a boulevard would be probably the best thing, just in terms of safety. Because you wouldn't have the opportunity for cars to pass on the side against traffic and on the street side. And these are real problems in the current construction, where you have all sorts of cars passing when you try to turn or when you wait for pedestrians. But I'd also like to remind you that I came to this community 20 years ago. People weren't even going into the park at that time. They were afraid to go in. In the last 3 or 4 years, the traffic across Wilson Drive just increased tremendously. I think anybody that goes there, and I think it will continue to increase as people further east in Shorewood start recognizing the opportunities for biking through and getting out. The beer garden is really a popular place, and a lot of that is just, we walk there all the time, I bike there all the time. I've seen a number of times where we've almost had accidents, and I think everyone wants to avoid that. But remember, we're working 30 years into the future. And in the last few years, we've seen more traffic in our streets. We've seen much more dangerous driving than I can remember 10 years ago. People are running through stoplights constantly. I see it all the time. So we need to really we have to look at the people that are involved in these and driving in the city. We're not worried about forming Wilson Drive so that everyone that's willing to obey the law and is a willing person and doesn't have to be upset that day or mad at something that's driving. Those are the people that aren't respecting common courtesy when they're driving. Those are the ones we have to protect against, and we have to find ways to make Wilson Drive safe against those people, not just the average person. Having buses stop and obstruct traffic is obviously a horrible idea. People would go around, but I think, and I congratulate the committee, and obviously there's been a lot of friction on this board, which I haven't seen, but I certainly felt that the members of the trustees that were involved in this study were outstanding in their work, and I applaud both of them. Thank you.
Michael Aita, 4067 North Farwell. I want to tell you people, I like to drive fast. And I'd like to drive fast on Wilson Drive. And the reason I don't is because Whitefish Bay, more often than not, has a cop car there, to keep traffic down, to keep speed down. And, you know, the people on Mars complaining about people running through the stop signs, and you're talking about spending more money. We have a wonderful police department. Can't you guys direct the cops to spend a little more time in some of the places where people are worried that people aren't obeying the law, and you don't have to spend any extra money, and you get an immediate result, and you probably bring in some money until the people start to realize, well, maybe this isn't such a good idea because, you know, Shorewood has lots of cops. And we like being in Shorewood because we have lots of cops, even me. Roadways are designed to move traffic efficiently. Every one of these options you're proposing is going to slow traffic down. You're worried about the environment, you get cars idling, you're going to have more pollution because people aren't moving. You're spending money, I don't understand why. You got a nice road, it runs very efficiently down the west side of town. In my opinion, keep the roadway the size it is, fire the engineers, and leave well enough alone.
Steve Robinson, 4427 North Farwell. I just want to take this opportunity to encourage everyone on board to take a look at Trustee Rozak's suggested amendment and consider the impact of changing the footprint of the roadway in a subsequent study from Brave. So we do have those three options to look at. I think that there are a lot of consequences to changing that footprint, some of which came up tonight, ideas of trees being in the wrong place all of a sudden, left turns being potentially easier if you move the green space from the west side to the middle of the road. And I think it's worth consideration considering the public's support of that option. Not saying that's where we need to end up. I just think it's too early to take it off the table without having apples to apples together.
Hi, Ellen Eckman, 2500 East Beverly. First, I want to thank the engineers for listening to all of us and for also providing some very important factual data that they best know, certainly more than many of us, because we are not engineers, and nor are we, that's one exception, and nor are we traffic engineers, so we are not in a position, we have to rely on their expertise. I think we have a couple of things that fall to the trustees to consider. If we're talking about 30 years, there were a lot of things happening in 30 years. Hopefully we'll value even more green space. Hopefully we will have self-driving cars, so we'll be going much slower. Self-driving cars will be able to do all kinds of things that we can't imagine. The younger generation, the millennial generation, is buying fewer cars. Automobile production is down right now. They don't want cars, they want bicycles. They want more space in the parks. They want access to the parks. We're looking at a younger generation that is moving to Shorewood and saying things like, what's the point of a boulevard? You can't play in it. You can't do anything in it. Let's get across that street. Let's look at the park and the Esper Park as a way to really enhance where we're going to be as a village. So using some of the language, we have a unique opportunity to create entrances into the park, to increase our presence along the park. The Milwaukee County Parks Department came to a meeting of the Parks Commission and talked wholeheartedly about working closely with Shorewood and enhancing the access into the park in many, many meaningful ways. The hybrid greenway begins that discussion, begins moving us into that in a very organized way that takes into effect all of the things that we've asked for, which is safety, which is environment, which is less cost in terms of curb space and the other technical aspects that I leave to the engineers to detail for us. So I think that the original motion with the suggestions to collect up that Trustee Zovek has made is really worth supporting for the entire village and to represent the many, many people that are out there and many of our younger people, the younger generation that isn't here tonight, thinking that, hey, the boulevards are not helpful. They're not green space. I can't jog on it. I can't do anything with it. I've actually, since this big discussion, and I sat in on been on the task force, and I know how we narrowed down to the two options. I was at all those meetings where we did that. I've been driving around, and I'm looking at boulevards. Okay, so I saw one today on Layton Avenue. Oh, great, it had a lot of flowers on it. It was useless. It didn't create any more space. The only way you could cross Layton Avenue is, and that's a much bigger street. Hampton, they have a boulevard. It doesn't do anything. It's just there. All right, you can't use it. You can't play on it. You can't. They're going to plant trees, and the trees are going to grow. And in 30 years, trees that you plant now grow and they get very tall. So wherever you plant them, they're going to grow. More difficult in an environment between that much concrete. There's a very interesting boulevard structure on Wisconsin Avenue at Marquette University, which had a huge problem. Wisconsin Avenue is a much faster road, much more pedestrian issues than we have on Wilson Drive. Many more emergency vehicles, buses, there are no bus pullovers, people have to go around. I mean, it's a whole different thing. They put in a boulevard, and the boulevard's purpose was to keep the faculty, staff, and students from crossing Wisconsin Ave. And they put a fence up, so we can't do it. And that's what happened with that street. So drive down it, and then they put specific places where we're allowed to cross the street. And this was a case where all the people were crossing from Marquette, were going back and forth on Wisconsin Avenue willy-nilly. Now we've got a boulevard with a fence that keeps us from doing it. Did the same thing on Wells Street, where Wells Street now became a smaller street. They narrowed the street, they put a boulevard in, they put a fence to keep people from crossing into the boulevard. Well, right.
Where the safety. property.
Well, only, right, but it's not usable property. It's not, it doesn't enhance what you want to do in terms of our opportunity. And of course, there's far more cars, and of course, there's far more people. Far more people. So remember what we're talking about. Wilson Drive is not those streets that are named, none of them. But it does give you an opportunity to really think longer and more broadly and think hard about really what the future is and not things that have worked perhaps in the past, but really what would enhance that property. So I would suggest that you really supported the motion that Trustee Zolbeck picked up. It was certainly a motion, and it represented a sentiment that is by many, many other people. Thanks for all your work, and thank you.
I have a follow-up question on that.
Sure. Oh, for
No,
me.
there-
Actually, for the attorney, if it's okay now, or should I just hold it?
No, go ahead.
Okay. When we were in committee, we discussed the revelation that we have two options for this land because we don't own it. We can keep it in right-of-way once vacated, once the road is narrowed, or give it back to the county. I mean, those are the two. Once you vacate that right-of-way, it reverts. But anyways, we'll get more data on that. My question is, if we keep it in right-of-way,